Welcome to this edition of Champagne Dreams. I'm your boy Darryl, and I'm with my girl.
Hi. You guys know me by now, right?
So we are. I don't know. This news cycle this week has been very interesting, very juicy. I mean, of course, there's always a lot happening in the news. Like Breonna Taylor's officers still need to be arrested, but uh, Will and Jada, like, I mean,
Bruh.
I can't. I'm on Instagram is there. I'm on Facebook is there. I can't like not see it. Just so what first off, should we give them backstory for those who don't know? I mean, I don't know how you don't
Yeah.
know, but okay. So I guess a little backstory stuff. You got them on the backstory.
Yeah. So Will and Jada, obviously there's been like speculation around their marriage for years, but they a couple years ago they brought into their family August Alsina, who is an R&B singer. Some people say he's like third tier, whatever. He can sing, his albums are good. Anyway, he was like battling addiction at the time. And so they brought him in. He became like a really good family friend. I mean, you would see them out on like vacation. You would see like Jada always like kind of hugged up with him and booed up with him. And, they'd be on vacations and traveling and all this stuff. Fine. Okay. Everybody kind of always wondered what was going on. I was like, no, it's family. It's like a bond, whatever. This week, August, who has knowingly and publicly battled like some mental health issues, some physical disabilities, he did an interview with Angela Yee and pretty much admitted that him and Jada had a whole situation going on, and that he sat down with Will, and Will like gave his consent and approval for it. He was like, yo, I'm willing to die on my truth, and if I die right now, I'm good. I'm like, yo, Jada must, okay, Jada, like, sir, you willing to die right now? Got it. But he said it was going on for a couple years, and here we are. But Will and Jada have both released separate statements this week saying, kind of like they kind of beat around the bush on it, which is why I feel like there's truth to it, because they were like, well, it's kind of not true. Like, Will, he never sat down with Will to consent to agree with anything, but they never said it did not happen. So now Jada has released a statement saying she's like, it's time for some healing. I'm gonna pull myself to the red table. Here we are this week. That has been in shambles, as you have seen.
So I'm just curious. When you say you're gonna bring yourself to the table or hold yourself accountable, right? I don't know how I feel about that. I say that because when you're holding yourself accountable, that's true. I mean, that's a great thing to do, right? But I think sometimes the reason we need peers is to keep us accountable, right? So like if I know all the ugly truths to it and maybe beautiful truths to this story that's about to unravel, if I'm holding myself accountable in a public forum, do I release all of that? Because technically I don't have to if I don't have if I have no one calling me to the rug, right? If I have no one like saying, but wait a minute, I'm listening and A and B don't necessarily connect. So how do we get to C? You just skipped right past B
Yeah.
and you're on C, and I don't see how those two pieces come together. So I don't know. I'm here for her coming to the table, like bring
Yeah.
herself to, but I'm like there should be another person like
I think there's gonna be. I don't think she's just gonna sit here and like read the camera. I feel like
okay.
they have opened themselves up so much on the red table talk that I feel like, I mean, of course she can lie, but I feel like she wouldn't. And I also feel like her and August had some sort of deep, intense connection that I feel like she can't lie just off the strength of like, she knows how fragile he is.
Yeah.
She knows what they had. And this is even, to me, goes even why I really believe it's true. Like, obviously, she didn't have them sign an NDA. And that's why I believe like this was something so authentic and so real, because if you just messing around, whatever,
Yeah.
can you sign right here? Like, we're gonna sign off on some papers, but
So you're saying if this
I,
is the regular old three-way, and Will and Jada wanted to like have
then right, signing papers.
they
But
could
I think it was that authentic and that real. Maybe it did start off with August coming in like, hey, we're gonna help you with this addiction, and then it grew into something like deeper connection for them. Now, granted, he might not have sat down with Will, or maybe both Will and Jada are having like selective amnesia about what happened. But I honestly believe
when it gets tricky. So just speaking from the point of or the lens of a therapist, not that I am one, but I have enough in my family. this is why it's imperative that you seek professional help and not necessarily a motivational speaker or a self-help guru. And I say that because the lines get blurred really quickly because there are ethics, right? So like if that, and I think that might be the truest story. I think that he started off this relationship with them and they did as well in kind, with the earnest thought that they were going to help him free himself from addiction and basically help him better himself. And I
Mm-hmm.
think along the line somewhere in there, wires got crossed and then ethic lines got crossed and relationships bloomed in spaces beyond just helping your fellow man to be a better person, right? And this is why I'm like, unless because even and this is why people are trained professionally for this, because they have to remember they have to separate those feelings of emotionally becoming attached in a deeper capacity than just counseling, right,
Yeah.
or therapy.
I
um,
mean, but also like Will and Jada have been very like openly closed about their relationship. Like, hey, we're life partners. And even in this interview that August did, he said like, yo, when I had a conversation with Will and Jada, whatever about the relationship, I'm giving like the cliff notes. He was like, they're no longer in a romantic situation. They're life partners. They changed over to life partnership. Like
so,
they had a whole red table talk about it. So I'm
so
like, okay, when you put it that way,
So
I
from a
get it.
married point of view, because you're married and I'm not, so that means they're not smashing, right? When you hear that word, because that's what I think. I'm like,
No, I mean, I
they're,
think for everybody that's different. Like, I think
so
when you
we're
say like
romantic.
partnership, I feel like that's just like, yo, like whatever happens, we're gonna stay together. Like, I don't think for everybody that means we're no longer in a romantic relationship. I mean, I think everybody's situation is different. And I think, but I don't always
But
think
he
like
but he specified it.
they've never been on some, oh, we're just so perfect. Like,
True, and that's when that's so we can't fault them, so we can't be looking at them like the
there's a
ideal.
lot of people who do this open marriage stuff. A lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna knock it. I just know it's not for me because I'm too jealous. I wouldn't be able to sustain it. Y'all would be reading about me in somebody's story. So I'm very much like, what's mine is mine, and what's mine you better not ever be yours.
Yeah.
But I say that to say, like, I can knock it if it works for them, right? If it works for them, so be it. But I'm just going back to the how carefully guided his words were. He said they were no longer in a romantic relationship, that they were in a partnership. So when you hear romantic, so because I don't know any other way to define romance than the intimate coming together.
Right.
So that tells me that they're no longer having, sexual relations. When you say things like it's no longer a romantic relationship, it's a partnership. You've either y'all have elevated in your relationship to the point
Yeah.
where sex is not that deep, which also tells me that you are also seeking sex outside of your
Yeah.
relationship, because a sexless marriage, and this is an old school therapist who told me this, but a sexless marriage is a loveless marriage. And I'm gonna be honest, like there does something dampens or wanes when there is no longer that intimate connection.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I also think that there's certain things you don't understand about marriage and whatever until you're in a marriage.
true, true.
Like
I
for
agree.
real, there's like so many things that like go on and that transpire that lead to like certain things, certain
Yeah,
avenues, whatever that may be, and you really will not get it until you're married. And so like I respect your opinion for
yeah,
sure, but
yeah.
I think certain things like you just don't get it until you're
Yeah.
in the
Like,
situation.
I agree. I agree. Like I said, that's why I said a threesome. I'm like, if that's what the intention was, makes sense because there's still a lot of intimacy going on now. I mean, again, I wouldn't do it because I'm jealous, but a threesome or a wife swap, I don't know, like key exchanges, like not for me. But again, if that's what you're into, so be it.
I can't wait until she brings herself to the table. And I really hope like Willow ain't in this one because certain stuff I mean, I understand like yes, it's her child, like, but some of the
Yeah,
conversations they have, I'm like, why is she in this? Like, yeah, she's an adult by
yeah.
legal age, but like certain things, I'm like, this should just
Eh,
probably shouldn't involve you right now.
everybody's parenting and everybody's thoughts on a liberal family and what that looks like is very different.
Oh, I can't wait. So we'll have to come back and talk about that one.
We
So
will.
another celebrity who's kind of been putting his foot in his mouth for the last couple weeks, Terry Crews.
Oh God.
So, he's always been in some mess. Like, he had the whole situation where a white guy in a meeting setting, like, grabbed his balls or whatever. He had a whole lawsuit. He was rallying the black folks behind him,
He
like,
was
come on,
behind them.
support me.
Yeah.
He supported him. And then Gabrielle Union came out with her claims on America's Got Talent and about like racism and everything. And Terry's like, Mr. I didn't see nothing, I didn't hear nothing, it wasn't true. Try to talk about, her experience.
Yeah.
And that kind of went on that. And then lately he's just been tweeting stuff like, I'm not gonna say it's anti-Black Lives Matter, but like it's really like, Terry, you need to be called to the front of the congregation, prayed over you, have a seat. Like he just keeps saying stuff like, well, we got to make sure this doesn't turn in, this Black Lives Matter movement doesn't turn into Black Lives Matter only. Like Jesus has been saying like little stuff here and there. Like last night he posted something about like, are all white people bad? No. Are all Black people good? No. So we need to figure out like, I'm a human rights activist, just going on and on. Like he just needs to shut up, to be honest, as a Black man. Just shut up.
I'm like, I need Jada to bring him to the red table next, because honestly, like Jada, help him fix his life. Help him work through his
He
personal
got some issues. He's
say
never gotten out that white chick's character, obviously.
because what bothers me, right? He says he's a human rights activist.
Stressing you out on this Sunday.
I'm just saying, it's like it's because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, so Terry, this is for you. When that white man massaged your testicles, right? Massaged, and you felt violated,
Sexually harassed,
and you felt defenseless, right? Because this happened, and you said in a public forum, in a public space, and no one said or did anything, right? And then you rallied for people to help you unite to come up against this power, right? This power, which speaks low-key directly to the same powers that's affecting us people of color. And now for you to come back around and then to dismiss the same people you wanted to rally behind you to help you become liberated and to tell your truth and to stand with you in your truth, you now feel away. You now want to denounce anything connected to people of color because you don't like the way that the narrative is being played out on TV. However, I can imagine those executives that you went behind to like make your situation come to light and come to justice. They weren't happy with the narrative either, but that didn't stop you from saying, you know what? White guys' testicles have been grabbed too in these public forums. Who am I? I'll step down. I'll leave.
He's kind of shuck and jive to keep a job.
I don't know. Let's move on. Move on.
All right. So lastly, Kanye West. We talked about him last week having, this 10-year deal with Gap, but this week, last night, he tweeted that he's gonna run for president in 2020. Who knows, like if it's a joke or if he's like really serious, but he's like, through God, like we need some like guidance and support. And I'm announcing that I'm running for the president of the United States, hashtag 2020 vision. So, I mean, we all know, first of all, like how wishy-washy Kanye is anyway. I mean, like slavery was a choice, but then like he's gospel album. Granted, nobody's perfect. I'm glad brother trying to turn his life around, get it together, whatever that may be. But like, president?
This behavior, this behavior alone that led up to this is why he is not and should not be the president. You don't want to put someone who's battling with mental wellness in a space that may make their mental wellness and the health of their mental wellness more volatile.
Yeah, so I think I would vote for Kim before Kanye. Like,
yeah, really? And I'm not even like, I love Kim, but I'm not a Kim fan. Like, yeah. But I would vote for her.
Yeah.
Again, mental wellness is something to be said about mental wellness.
All right, we're gonna leave the people with a word of motivation. I think my word is gonna be clarity for the week, especially with all these situations we've been talking about. Like, I think sometimes in our own lives we just gotta have clarity of like what we're doing, what direction we're going, and sometimes that causes us or requires us to like remove certain things from our life so you can just really focus. So I think clarity and like really like seeking clarity, whether it's the removal of something or just like maybe adding something to your life to be able to give you some more clarity. That's my word for the week.
That is a great word of the week. I think my word of the week is going to be to live. I want all of you who are watching us and who come under the sound of our voice to live the most authentic life you can. And to not be fearful of showing or sharing all parts of who you are, because oftentimes we go through life wearing masks, and it's those masks that feeds fear, that feeds hate, that feeds all of these things we were just talking about that murky up the water, so you can't get true clarity because you don't know who you are, and then you're rolling with a group of people who don't truly know who they are because everyone's fearful of living. To live and to love the life you live while seeking clarity.
You see,
That's
you
the
always
word.
drop like a word. Like, we passed the collection plate for you.
Well, you know, we got our church. It's a Sunday. You know how.
Okay.
Just, look.
All right, thanks for watching another episode of Champagne Dreams, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Next time.